Sarah and Mike sit on equal ground. Both earn $60,000 a year. They work the same hours, pay the same taxes, and face the same rising cost of living. Yet, their paths diverge the moment they leave the office. Sarah walks to her car, drives home, and logs into her bank portal. She confirms the transfer of $500 into a simple index fund. It is a quiet, mechanical habit she repeats every single month without fail. Mike takes a different route. He stops at a tech store to browse the latest gadgets, then meets friends for dinner, paying with a card that is already near its limit. He tells himself he will save once he gets a raise, once the bonus hits, once life gets easier. He leaves a trail of receipts in his wake. Sarah is building a structure of steel, brick by brick, while Mike is tracing patterns in the sand. 30 years will pass, and the difference between these two lives will be measured in millions. We see their identical starting lines today, but we already know how the story ends. The question is, why do two people with the same paycheck end up in such different worlds? 30 years vanish in the blink of a calendar page. The difference is no longer a theory. It is a physical reality. Sarah opens her investment dashboard. The screen displays a total surpassing $1 million. Her account is a machine that has worked through every market shift, every holiday, and every quiet night while she slept. Across town, Mike sits at his kitchen table. He does not have a dashboard. He has a shoebox overflowing with crumpled receipts, a 30-year chronicle of dinners, gadgets, and fleeting upgrades that long ago lost their value. He stares at his bank statement, his fingers tapping the wood, checking for money that is not there. The anxiety is not a sudden event. It is a slow buildup of interest owed and opportunities missed. Sarah has freedom. Mike has a backlog of past consumption. It was never about winning the lottery or landing a high-salary promotion. It was not about luck. It was about the math of consistency. The numbers do not care about excuses, and they do not wait for the right time. They simply accumulate, indifferent to the choices made along the way. I am Jesse. For years, I have pulled apart the mechanics of compound interest and the erratic nature of human behavior. I have watched people treat wealth like a lightning strike, something that hits a lucky few and leaves the rest of us in the rain. That perspective is wrong. It is a trap that keeps you passive. If you feel stuck, if you look at your paycheck and wonder if a normal income can ever build a foundation, you are looking at the wrong variables. Wealth is not a mystery of the universe. It is not hidden behind a six-figure salary or a lucky stock tip. It is a system. It is a set of inputs and outputs governed by math, and the best part is that you are the one holding the controls. You do not need the market to be perfect. You need your habits to be consistent. We are going to strip away the myths and look at the actual physics of your finances. If you want to stop guessing and start building, stay tuned. We are about to look at the 3 variables that dictate your entire financial outcome. This is not about getting lucky. This is about taking back your agency. Most people operate under a dangerous delusion. They believe that if they just earned a little more, the anxiety would vanish. They think a higher salary is the solution to their financial stagnation. But look at the data. A 2024 Federal Reserve report paints a much darker picture of our current reality. Nearly half of all adults in this country would struggle to scrape together $400 in an emergency. Think about that for a second. That is not just a statistical anomaly. It is a systemic failure. It means millions are living on a razor edge, one broken appliance, or one minor medical bill away from a total collapse. The misconception is that wealth is a byproduct of how much you earn. It is not. Wealth is a byproduct of how much you keep and how long you let that money grow. If you are waiting for a pay raise to finally start your foundation, you are chasing a ghost. High earners are just as susceptible to this trap as anyone else. You can have a massive income and still be broke if you do not understand the mechanics of retention. This is not about being rich. It is about being safe. Why do we sabotage our own future? The answer is etched into our biology. Human psychology is hardwired for the present. Evolutionarily, resources were scarce. If you found food, you ate it because tomorrow was never guaranteed. Your brain is still running that ancient software in a world of abundance. It prioritizes immediate gratification because it thinks you are still fighting for survival. Today, that instinct manifests as a destructive pattern: lifestyle inflation. Every time your income ticks upward, your brain treats it as the new baseline. You get a raise, and your spending rises to match it. You buy a better car, you upgrade your daily habits, and you convince yourself it is a reward. But in reality, you are just moving the goalposts. You are effectively killing your ability to build a financial foundation before it even starts. This is not a lack of willpower, it is a biological bias. To break the cycle, you have to acknowledge that your brain is programmed to keep you broke. You have to consciously reject the urge to consume more just because you earned more. It is the single biggest barrier between you and lasting security. If you want to escape the cycle of immediate gratification, you must stop viewing wealth as an abstract concept. It is a machine. And, like any machine, it relies on three specific variables to function. The first variable is your contribution. This is the only factor you control on a daily basis. It is the fuel that enters the system every month. The second variable is time. This is your force multiplier. It is the silent partner that works while you sleep, stretching the value of every dollar you set aside. The third variable is the market return. This is the engine itself. It provides the growth that turns simple savings into a compounding force. Most people fail because they focus on the wrong things. They obsess over picking the perfect stock or timing the market, ignoring the fact that they have no control over those outcomes. You do not need to be a genius to build wealth. You need to be an architect. By managing your contribution, respecting your time horizon, and trusting the engine of the market, you strip away the guesswork. You are no longer hoping for a miracle. You are executing a formula. When these three variables align, the math becomes your most reliable ally. Let us look at the math, because the math does not care about your excuses. If you commit to saving $500 every single month at an 8% annual return, you hit the $1 million mark in 35 years. It is a slow, steady, and inevitable climb. But watch what happens when you decide to wait. If you put off that decision for just 10 years, the landscape changes drastically. You are no longer chasing the same goal with the same effort. To catch up and reach that same $1 million finish line in the same time frame, you would need to save over $1,200 every month. That is not a minor adjustment. It is more than double the original commitment. You are essentially paying a massive tax on your own procrastination. Time is not just a variable here. It is the most expensive asset you possess. Every year you spend waiting is a year that your money cannot work for you. The window to build wealth is wide, but it is closing with every passing month. If you are waiting for the perfect time, you are already losing money. The clock is ticking, and the price of starting tomorrow is significantly higher than the price of starting today. Now, let us map out the basic path to see how patience actually manifests in reality. If you commit to saving $500 a month at a 7% return, you are looking at a 40-year timeline. At the end of that road, your total sits at roughly $1.2 million. Most people look at that number and assume it grows evenly, year after year. They are wrong. Look closer at the mechanics of the curve. For the first 20 years, the progress feels agonizingly slow. You are doing the work, yet the balance barely seems to move. It feels like you are pushing a boulder uphill. But then, something shifts. In the final decade, the growth accelerates into a vertical climb. The interest earned on your interest begins to dwarf your monthly contributions. That is the moment of realization. You are not just saving money. You are building a machine that eventually does all the heavy lifting for you. The bulk of your wealth is not earned in the beginning. It is earned by simply refusing to quit before the final decade arrives. That is the secret of the long game. You are not looking for a sprint. You are waiting for the tipping point where time finally pays you back for every year of consistency. Now, let us look at the intermediate path. This is where you move from a passive saver to an active builder. Instead of keeping your contributions static, You commit to increasing them by just $50 every single year. It sounds like a negligible amount, barely the cost of a few meals out. But watch the trajectory. By year 10, you are no longer saving $500. You are funneling $900 into your accounts every month. That small, incremental nudge creates a ripple effect that gains momentum like a snowball rolling down a mountain. You are not just adding money. You are aggressively shortening your path to the finish line. When you look at the final outcome, that's small. Consistent annual discipline changes your net worth by hundreds of thousands of dollars compared to the basic path. It makes the prospect of becoming a millionaire feel reachable, not because you found a windfall or landed a massive raise, but because you mastered the habit of small, deliberate improvements. You are training your brain to prioritize growth over current consumption. This is the power of the nudge. It turns a long, exhausting climb into a series of manageable, rewarding steps that lead to the same million-dollar destination in significantly less time. Now we reach the third variable, and this is where most people lose everything. Market volatility is not a bug, it is a feature. But when the red lines appear on the screen, your biology screams at you to run. You see your balance drop, you feel the heat of the loss, and the urge to pull your money out becomes a physical weight. You tell yourself you are just protecting what is left. You are wrong. If you stop investing during a market downturn, you are not protecting your future. You are sabotaging it. You are locking in your losses and guaranteeing that you miss the inevitable recovery. The market does not care about your anxiety. It rewards the boring, the consistent, and the stubborn. Every time you panic sell, you break the engine of your own wealth. The math is cold, but it is absolute. It favors the investor who watches the drops and keeps buying over the one who tries to time the bottom. Your greatest threat is not the market itself. It is the person staring back at you in the mirror when the numbers turn downward. Stay the course, or pay the price. If market volatility is the external enemy, then hedonic adaptation is the saboteur living inside your own mind. It is a psychological trap that resets your baseline for happiness the moment you acquire something new. You buy a faster car or move into a larger space, and for a few days, it feels like an upgrade. Then, your brain recalibrates. The new becomes the normal. The thrill fades, but the cost remains. You are now trapped in a cycle of lifestyle inflation, where every increase in your income is immediately swallowed by an increase in your standard of living. You are running on a treadmill that moves faster the harder you sprint. This is why you feel like you are standing still despite your raises. You are intentionally building a cage of recurring expenses that prevents you from ever accumulating true wealth. To win, you have to consciously reject the urge to upgrade your life every time your bank account grows. You must view your savings as a fixed, non-negotiable expense, rather than a leftover chore. When you treat your future self as a priority rather than an afterthought, you break the cycle. You stop chasing the next baseline and start building an actual foundation. The struggle is real, but the choice is yours. Contrast that cycle of consumption with a different path. Meet David. At 25, he made a simple, cold calculation. He did not wait for a windfall or a promotion. He set aside $300 every month. Not $5,000, $300. He automated the transfer, ignored the market fluctuations, and let the math work in the dark. For 20 years, he stayed consistent. He did not chase status or upgrade his lifestyle every time his income ticked upward. He treated that monthly contribution as a debt he owed his future self. By 45, he was a millionaire. This is not about being a genius or having a secret edge. It is about the power of the clock. David reached his goal because he understood that time is the only asset you cannot buy back. He started early, kept his commitments, and let the interest compound until the numbers did the heavy lifting for him. He is the living proof that wealth is not a matter of luck, but a matter of starting before you feel ready. His path is open to anyone willing to prioritize their future over the urge to spend today. Now, consider the alternative. Meet Elena. She did not start at 25. She started at 40. To reach the same millionaire finish line by 65, she could not afford the $300 ease that David enjoyed. Elena had to commit $1,000 every single month. That is not just a difference in numbers, it is a difference in life. While David built his wealth through the slow, steady burn of time, Elena has to fund hers through aggressive, immediate sacrifice. She has to cut deeper into her monthly income. She has to tighten her margins, skip more opportunities, and work with a narrower window for error. Every dollar she invests now carries the weight of 15 missed years of compounding. She is running a sprint while David ran a marathon. Her effort is constant, her focus is sharp, and her room for error is nearly non-existent. This is the tax you pay for waiting. It is not a penalty on your earnings, but a penalty on your options. Elena proves that building wealth later is possible, but it demands a level of discipline that most are not prepared to sustain. The math is unforgiving. If you wait, you work harder. If you start now, you buy yourself freedom. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not a lack of intelligence. It is a lack of systems. Willpower is a finite resource, and if you rely on it to save money every month, you will eventually fail. You will see an expense, a sale, or an impulse, and you will choose to keep the cash. To win, you must remove the decision entirely. This is the automation mandate. Go into your banking portal today. Set up a recurring transfer that moves your chosen investment amount from your primary checking account to your brokerage account the very moment your paycheck clears. Do not wait until the end of the month to see what is left over. That strategy ensures you will always save nothing. When you automate, you treat your future like a non-negotiable bill. You pay your rent, you pay your electricity, and you pay your future self. By the time you sit down to check your balance, the money is already gone, already working, and already compounding. You do not miss what you never touch. This one action transforms saving from a painful chore into a background process that happens without you. It is the most powerful tool you have to guarantee that your habits match your intentions. Even with your investments automated, you face one silent threat that can ruin your progress: the unexpected disaster. A car repair, a sudden medical bill, or a job transition can strike at any time. If you have no cash on hand, you are forced to do the one thing that destroys wealth. You must sell your investments during a market downturn to cover the cost. You sell low, you lock in your losses, and you kill your compounding engine just when it needs to be running fastest. To prevent this, you need a high-yield savings buffer. This is not for your investments, it is for your peace of mind. Keep 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses in a separate, accessible account. When a crisis hits, you do not touch your brokerage account. You pull from your buffer. This shield allows you to stay invested through the volatility that scares everyone else into selling. It turns a financial disaster into a manageable annoyance. By separating your survival money from your growth money, you remove the pressure to liquidate at the wrong time. You stop reacting to life's emergencies with your future wealth and start handling them with a pre-planned, liquid defense. This is how you stay in the market long enough to win. Now that your automation is running and your buffer is protecting your gains, you need to change how you measure your progress. Most people obsess over their daily spending. They track every coffee, every dinner, and every subscription, which turns their financial life into a constant, draining exercise in restriction. Stop looking at what goes out and start looking at what stays. You need to track your net worth. Create a simple spreadsheet. List your assets, subtract your debts, and update the total once a month. When you focus on your net worth, your brain stops seeing money as something to be burned on temporary goods. It starts seeing money as a score in a game you are actively winning. You begin to crave the upward movement of that total number, more than you crave the next impulse purchase. It turns the chore of saving into a rewarding pursuit of growth. Every dollar you keep is a point added to your total. Every debt you pay down is a hurdle cleared. This simple shift in perspective makes you the architect of your own wealth rather than a victim of your expenses. You are no longer managing scarcity. You are engineering your future. Watching that number grow becomes the only motivation you need to stay the course. You might be thinking that you work hard and deserve to enjoy your money right now. You might feel that $500 is a significant amount to lock away. You are not wrong, but you are missing the cost of that logic. Every time you choose to prioritize immediate gratification over your future, you are making a specific, calculated trade. You are trading 30 years of freedom for a single week of temporary comfort. Think about the last thing you bought that felt like a reward. Does it still give you the same satisfaction today, or has it already faded into the background of your daily life? Most consumption is like that, an intense spike of pleasure that vanishes within days. Contrast that with the feeling of total financial control. Choosing long-term security is not about deprivation. It is about choosing which version of yourself you want to be. When you choose to save, you are not taking money away from your life. You are moving it from a fleeting moment in the present into a permanent foundation for your future. The choice is yours to make every single time you open your wallet. Will you settle for a week of temporary pleasure, or will you build 30 years of genuine, lasting security? Picture yourself at 65. Close your eyes and step into that version of your life. In the first path, you are sitting on a quiet porch. The morning air is still. You hold a warm drink, looking out over a space you own, completely free from the weight of monthly obligations. Your bills are paid. Your options are wide open. You are not worried about the next check because your foundation is ironclad. Now, look at the other version. You are sitting at a kitchen table, the light flickering, checking your bank account with a hollow sense of dread. You are counting coins to cover the basic costs of the week, wondering where the time went and why you did not act sooner. That version of you is trapped by the decisions you are making right now. Both of these futures are being built by your hands today. One is a fortress of peace. The other is a cage of anxiety. You are the architect. You are laying the bricks with every single choice you make. Do not let the version of you in the future pay the price for the comfort you crave in this moment. Choose the path that leads to the porch, not the one that leads to the regret. Let us strip away the noise. Wealth is not about deprivation. It is not about a life lived in the shadows of what you cannot afford. It is about intentionality. When you intentionally direct your resources, you move from being a passenger in your own life to being the driver. You stop reacting to the world and start shaping your own reality. Think of every dollar as a seed. When you spend it on fleeting things, you consume the seed. When you invest it, you plant it. You are creating a garden that will sustain you long after you have stopped working. This shift in perspective changes everything. It removes the sting of saving. It turns a chore into a victory. You are not losing money. You are buying your future peace of mind. Feel the tension leave your shoulders. You do not need a miracle. You do not need a lucky break. You only need to be consistent and clear about what you are building. You have the power to take control of your financial destiny, one choice at a time. The path forward is open. It is measurable, and it is entirely within your reach. Breathe in that clarity. You are ready to begin. If this breakdown helped you realize that your habits are more important than the size of your paycheck, please hit that thumbs up button. It tells the algorithm that people are ready for real financial talk. If you want to see a deep dive into the mechanics of tax-advantaged accounts, the kind of knowledge that keeps more of your money in your pocket, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are building a community here of people who are done with guesswork and ready for a plan. We drop new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and the next one is going to show you exactly how to optimize your tax bill for maximum growth. You will not want to miss it, because that is where the math really starts to work in your favor. Take that first step today. Automate your savings, track your net worth, and watch how quickly the numbers shift. Thank you for spending your time with me. You have the tools, you have the path, and now you have the momentum. I will see you in the next one.